Hello everyone, I'm Aaron, the manager of Cleethorpes Dragons in GBR, and today I'm going to be talking about players' values, which is important as I'm going to follow this video up with a video about strategies about making lots and lots and lots, literally hundreds of millions from buying and selling players, as you can see from my bank balance. But basically you'll need to know what's in this video before you can move on to what's on the next video. So first I'll just give a few examples so you can actually see that it's working. So this guy here, I've bought him on the 9th of August for 1.6, and you can see I've sold him on the 24th of October for 4.8. So who else we got? There's a few here I've still got in my team. So this guy I bought for 4 million. This guy I bought for 3 million. And this guy I've spent about 1.9 on. So if we just pop back to my actual team. So this is the guy I'd spent 4 million on. He's been in my team for about 11 weeks and he's at 8 million now. So I've made 4 million profit from having him in my team for about a season. Who we got next? This guy was next. I spent what was it, 3 million on this guy, and he's up to nearly 5 now. But his birthday's not for over another month yet, and he's got 4 weeks left on his contract, so that's going to go up more. That's probably 7 million, somewhere around there. And last that we just looked at was this guy, who I'd spent 1.8 million on, and he's up to 3.2. But this guy's got, once again, 4 to 5 weeks left. So he's probably going to go up to 5.5 million. So I should make nearly 4 million on him as well. So basically I'm going to go through the values so you can understand how I've got myself into a situation where I've managed to make so much profit. I've managed to get these guys' values up so much. So to understand how the values have gone up, you've basically got to understand what makes values go up and what makes values go down. So players primarily gain value as their strength goes up, and this strength, and that primarily goes up from stats going up and from experience going up. So now players' experience doesn't need to be going up to make his strength go up, and in clubs like mine that are fairly big, most of the time these players you're buying to sell won't be playing games, but obviously if they are playing games, more experience is just going to increase it faster and you're going to make more profit. So, but even if they're not playing, they'll still be training at your club. And if you haven't seen my video on training, then you should go and have a look at that as well, because anything to optimise your training is obviously going to optimise how much money you make on them. So now players' values only really go down on their birthday, so we can use this to our advantage. So if I just grab this little graph here, so this is basically a really basic graph outlining basically a hypothetical but fairly typical sales value of a player in his early 20s who's making like fairly average progress through training basically. So this is his value here, and this is obviously time in weeks, and I mean it's on in millions there, but that's not really important. The important thing is the pattern and understanding the pattern. It's fairly normal to have these jumps as well. To be when you're low value, the jumps are just so much smaller, everything's so less dramatic. But as your value increases more and more and more, the jumps get more and more dramatic. So, and these points you see as well, they're not very static. You'll probably see them move up and down just a little bit around the point, and then every now and again they will just jump up quite a lot, and then you'll go through this period of just moving up and down a little bit, and then they'll jump up quite a lot again. And then obviously when the player has his birthday, it's going to jump down quite a lot. So yeah, as long as the team's got level 4 training and a qualification 70 plus assistant, you can make really decent profits from this. You can probably actually make more profits than you are seeing with my team, because I can't afford to obviously play these players, so they're not getting experience, and I obviously can't all my training gets focused into my main players, so these players get no sort of focused training. But if you're a smaller team out there who perhaps only has level 3 or level 4 training, and you're more interested in the money, then you can obviously focus train these and make a lot more money. As an example, that you can see in the guide I wrote in the forums about this, I had one player when I had level 4 training that I used as an example in my guide, and I'd bought him for 1.8 million, and then I sold him for 12.2 million 12 weeks later, because he was playing in every single match, and he also got complete focus training as well, so he improved a lot more than he could in my current team. So just because you don't have the same sort of assistant coach and the same sort of quality training as the top teams, it doesn't mean you can't make a lot of money from this. I mean, I even think you could probably make quite decent money with just like the level 3 training, as long as you did it right. So the last point I'm going to make is about contracts and selling players generally, which will set things up nicely for my video on basically buying and selling. So now if we look at the graph, it's very obvious that we want to be selling players right before their birthday, because that's obviously when they're right at their peak. There's no point selling players here, because if you keep him for that 6 more weeks, he's just going to gain more value. So always sell right before the birthday. Now just a bit of a refresher on contracts in case you didn't know. If you sell a player in the first 4 weeks of their contract, you only get 50% of their value. If you sell a player after the first 4 weeks of their contract, but before the last four weeks of their contract, you get 75% of their value. And if you sell a player in the last 4 weeks of their contract, you get 100% of the value. So this is really important. As soon as you know you're going to sell a player, you should be sorting his contract out appropriately, so you know you're going to be able to sell him for 100% of his value right near his birthday, because you know this is when you want to sell him, and you've got to be, his value's got to be able to, you've got to be able to get 100% of his value around this time to maximise what you're going to get from that player, because you obviously don't want him to drop down here and then you have to sell him, or sell him for 75%, and so basically you're just not getting everything you could possibly get out of it. So let's say you buy a new player and you buy him halfway between birthdays, so he's here. Now the contract, you're going to get him on a 12-week contract, so obviously that contract is going to end here, which is not when you want it to end. So there's 2 ways that you can make this so it's going to end right before his next birthday. You can either keep him on his initial contract, and as soon as he has this birthday here, put him on a new 12-week contract, and that's obviously going to expire right before his next birthday, because for those of you who don't know, there's 12 weeks, exactly 12 weeks between birthdays. Or the other thing you could do is just give him an 18-week contract outright, and that's just going to expire right before his birthday there. So another situation that can pop up with just selling players generally is players that come out of your youth academy, and they'll always come out of youth academy on an 18-week contract, which is really annoying. So same again, if you're halfway between birthdays when he comes out, and obviously you know you want to sell this guy, then that's fine. But if he comes out and he's just had a birthday, your only real option is to give him a 24-week contract straight away and selling right up here, because otherwise his contract's going to expire here, and obviously you're not maximising what you can get out of it. Out of all the tactics that you can use for contracts. The simplest one is just to the good old renew their contract on their birthday. Whenever you buy them, you say you buy a player here, even if it's only 2 weeks before their birthday, just renew it on the birthday, because not only are you probably going to get cheaper wages because the sales values can drop so much, but it means you're going to get the full 12 weeks, because if you don't renew this contract here, this is going to end 2 weeks before here, and this could jump up again, and you can just literally lose out on millions. So anyway, I think that will pretty much do for this video. I hope you've learned something. Obviously I'm going to use a lot of what I've said here about contracts and sales values and bits like that in a video that is literally going to be about making, like, literally, so you can make all these profit on these players, and over time you can just literally stack up hundreds and hundreds of millions. So I think that'll do very nicely. Thank you, goodbye, and I shall see you next time.